Good evening, everyone. October 19th, Monday, start of another great week here. And tonight we're going to talk about the indicators, how price reacts with the indicators. So, I talked to a few folks that took the same trade today. I'm going to try to show you the four a little bit, but I had a conversation with one of the members that's trading. And I talked to this person quite a bit, so we have a lot of conversations about the market and um, actually, yeah, there's a few people that took this trade today. So I want to discuss how this trade set up. It was a long trade. One of the questions, and probably the most common question I get, is about trade setups, and it's the hardest question to answer. It's one that I never have an answer for it. How do you know when to take a trade? There's no such thing as a book on how to take a trade. It's understanding how the market moves and then taking action based on what you understand. For example, where's my arrow line? Okay, Power Pro is at the first line. Price is at, similar spot here. Okay, so I'll go from the middle. Price went up fairly substantially. And then if I come straight down, Power Pro dropped to just below there, quite a bit. So that's an indication that the price has to drop. Plus, what time is it? It's just about 10 o'clock. So we're looking for the 10 o'clock reversal. So that's what the market looks like right there. And eagle above the hawk, this is not necessarily an indication that we're going to drop, but we have nice divergence. And we're kind of sort of naked up here. We're a ways off the eagle. We can expect a drop. And then this is how it's set up on the 8. And there was really no indication that things were going to drop. But your 16 said so. And then your 4 and your 3, I mean, it just come together just absolutely perfectly. Okay, eagle and hawk crossover right here. So now where the eagle gets underneath the hawk, that's a very important intersection. Price drops, bringing Power Pro down. Price hits the traveler, which, study this. It's such a common thing. We hit the traveler, we pull back to the eagle. It's like a ricochet. We hear about the hawk back to the eagle ricochet. Well, lately and often we're hitting the traveler, ricocheting back to the eagle, and then boom. This one did it twice. Almost kind of abnormal. I see some people got in the trade on this wick bar. Some people got in the trade on this wick bar. Either or. So the 16 set up in the ways we just talked about. The 8, absolutely no real indication that we were going to drop other than the traveler. At the time that the price started to drop, the traveler was trying to get outside of the hawk, but that's about it. So the 8 didn't really tell you to take a trade, but the 16 did, and then the 4, it was perfect. And quite a few people today took that trade, and to me, it was just a beautiful trade. I didn't take it, and I love the short trades. That usually fits my eye. I don't really remember why I didn't take the trade, but as soon as the trade was about to here, I was like, "Ah, there it goes, nice." And I've gotten a lot better at that in myself. When I see a trade take off now, I truly have learned to admire it and like be excited for it, instead of feeling like I missed the trade. So that one took off, and I thought that was pretty awesome. That was a great trade. So for anyone that was looking at that, um, or took that trade, yeah, beautiful. But then I want to talk about the next trade. So the 16, we just talked about 9:58. We get the 10 o'clock reversal. It's a couple minutes early, and it kind of just out of nowhere, boom, huge drop. And so when the price does that, cuts all the indicators, boom, we know that it's going to have, when it decides to have its reaction the other way, it can kind of just take off, kind of like it dropped. So through here on the 16 and through here on the 8, We know this thing's going to pop, and we know it's going to pop pretty well. Okay, now we're all just looking for 2.2, so we just need a nice setup, and it should be a quick, easy, painless 2.2. Well, what happens on the 32? The 32, again, we cut all the indicators, and we get naked underneath all of the indicators. What does that tell us? That we're going to pop. So the 32 is locked in as soon as we break the indicators. Same thing, once we get anywhere down here, especially once we pass the open, this thing's just ready to pop. Now, because you're naked, and when I say naked, I mean we're so far off the indicators right here. There's such a huge gap between the price and any one of the three indicators, that's considered naked. Naked reversals are, in my opinion, the easiest reversal to see. So this chart's now locked in. You're naked, and you're not going to get any more of a signal on here other than one wick bar up, and it's going to go. So you can't really rely on the 16 at this point anymore. Once the price gets down here, you're just looking to go long. So we don't need to look at our 32 anymore. We don't need to look at our 16 anymore. And now here comes the 8. And some things have happened from, I want to ask some questions, but I'm trying to figure out how to word it. Looking at this picture right here, looking inside of this area right here, what are some things that are indicating to start to prepare yourself for the long trade? There's 1, 2, 3 things that I'm seeing immediately. I always set myself up. There's 80 people, and I don't read that fast. And all of a sudden, I'm like, yeah, okay, that was a good idea. Okay, I'm not even going to read those because I think a lot of them are great. Okay, here's what I've got noticed. And if you have more noticed, that's fine. I did see someone write divergence. There's no divergence here. Price is dropping and Power Pro's dropping. That's not divergence. Someone said 100%. I wasn't looking at that, so I want to see. I think it's not quite 100. It might get to 100 though. Doesn't matter. Okay, here's what I see. We don't quite test this traveler either. I see someone wrote that. Here's what I see. Price comes inside the eagle. That's the first sign of weakness. Now, what happens to the eagle? But let's back it up for a minute. Let's try to look at this live. Okay, so right here, we've got our ultimate. I wish this doesn't work this way, but this eagle is, I wish you could actually measure that, not in points vertical, but in points total. Okay, this eagle is wide open. When I say wide open, I mean the width of the eagle right here is whatever that distance is. The width of the eagle right here is substantially bigger, right? So it's wide open. That's what wide open means. It's wide and it's open. This would be closed. This, all through here is open, but it's very wide right here. So when we get that wick bar to go against it, it's still wide open. So I'm not looking for a long trade. It's still pretty open, but you see how the eagle starts to roll. It starts to get that bend in it. It's not straight, pointing straight down anymore. I'm not looking for a long trade though. Still not looking for a long trade. It's staying wide open. Now it's starting to turn, but you see when that wick bar forms, it opens back up to the downside. So this was just a first test, which is, that's fine. We don't expect it to go the first time. Now, I don't know if anyone noticed this, but we know that the market likes to do things in threes a lot of the time. Not all the time, a lot of the time. So this was like test 1. Okay, and you see how this eagle now is, it's staying narrowed. If we went back to here, remember how wide this was when I drew that line? Look how narrow it is now. The eagle is weak. Okay, the eagle is weak. Power Pro, however, still really strong. Energy still really strong. So I'm not looking for a long trade still, but I'm noticing some weaknesses. Okay. Now we get another wick up bar. So we've tested the eagle once. We were under the eagle, then we were in the eagle, and then we were fighting to get back outside of the eagle, which is the strongest place to be, riding the corner up. Can you guys hear me? Sorry, my mic just did a weird thing and I had a microphone setting pop up. Odd. Okay. Now this wake up bar, that's to get back inside the eagle. But this just creates a dual bar, and actually this little wick bar kind of makes like a bear sandwich. But so this was like test one. This was like the second test to get back inside the eagle, and then we're pushing out. Sounds not good right now? Just let me check it real quick, because it did do something weird. I don't know. Just give me a second here. Okay, how's that? Test 1, 2, test. Okay, yeah, for whatever reason, it I don't know. It went back to my laptop audio for a second, or laptop mic. Okay, so this was our first test into the eagle. The eagle narrowed. Angle of the eagle still pointing down nicely. This next little dual bar reversal or little sandwich deal, that was like test number 2. And look how the angle, the angle. Look at how the eagle's pointing pretty much straight down, and on this next run, it's changed angles. Look at the difference. This one's much stronger, pointing straight down. This one's starting to go sideways. So these are clues. These are clues that something's coming. Okay, then I see the wick up bar. I'm going to get rid of this. It's easier to see what's going on. Then I get the wick up bar, which at this point in time, I'm prepared to start looking at my 4. Okay, you guys hear me harp on everybody all the time to don't look at your 4 too early. People like to get looking at their small charts too early. And when we look at the small charts too early or too often, we start to see things that look good, and in reality, they're not. So at that point in time, I think was the first time I looked at my 4. And now I don't think the 4 would have sucked us into anything any earlier. Like there was never that 1-2 off the eagle. But you know how many times in a day you'll get this nice 1-2 off the eagle, and the eagle turns up, and you're like, oh, here's the reversal, and it goes, well, just like this. It goes 8 or 9 ticks, and then boom, drops. But what's substantial about this picture when I look over here now is how much we just dropped from that point to that point, and then from that same point to that same point. So huge drop and a small rise. So what does that tell you? Divergence. So we know we're getting close. We know we're getting close. And So for me, now I want to put these pictures together. So I'm going to put my 4 over here. This is my setup. This is my trade chart, if you will. And this is still my 8. I don't need to look at my 16. I haven't had to look at it for quite some time, or my 32. So I'm really down to my 8 and then my setup charts. My setup charts being the 3 and the 4. So in a perfect world, when we're going from eagle to eagle, oh, the other thing that's giving this trade away, telling us it's time, is the traveler. Nice in between the two, pressure down. Now it's creeping towards the hawk. It's getting ready for the long trade. And I love these when they set up to go short. I love trading from eagle to eagle when we're going short. I love it. It's my favorite trade. I feel like I see it really, really easily. I don't see the long trades as much. So, for example, I know at least one person that took this trade right here. Awesome. Not for me. I want to see a little better picture. But if you're seeing it right there, I'm not going to tell you you're wrong because the trade worked. But what I want to see is I like to see this thing break the eagle, because we broke it here and we broke it here. I like to see it break the eagle and then pull back inside the eagle. A wick off of the inside of the eagle, you've heard me talk about it before, really powerful. So had this thing up here dropped, broke the eagle, then come back and wicked off the inside of the eagle up here, oh yeah, perfect. Now that one didn't do it, so let's see if this one does. So if I'm looking for that to happen, what does that mean on my 4? If I want it to wick off the inside of the eagle on the 8, what do I need to look for on the 4? Yeah, let's put a few of them answers together. A nice 1-2 on the 4, but let's get a 1-2 off the hawk. Because if I get a 1-2 off the hawk on the 4, that's going to be a little 1-2 wicking off the inside of the eagle. So at this point in time, right here, I'm kind of sort of done with the 8. I'm going to peek at it, but I'm going to lock in on the 4. And as soon as I break that traveler, I'm excited, because lately, we talked about this earlier, it's been ricocheting off the traveler. So if this thing just took off and went straight up from here, I would say, see you later. No big deal. I'll get you next time. And I would have wondered how I could have maybe seen this trade to take it right here. Now, wicking off the inside of the eagle on the 4, that would have been a nice pullback to the hawk on the 3. But I didn't see that. I wasn't looking for it at that point in time. So, no problem. See you later. But when I get the wick down bar off the traveler on the 4, I know I want to see this thing pull back to the hawk on the 4. There it is. That one had a dual, or like 2 wick bars in a row. And simply, there it is. Now, is this the picture perfect thing that we look for? No. Do you understand why this works? That's the important part. Do you understand why it works? And then there was a variety of targets for this trade. Personally, took my 2.2, was very happy. Some people extended to, like, I took my trade to about right in this area here, 2.2. I know some people were looking for other targets, extended their trade. It's all good. But let me see if I can get my 3 up here. I wasn't going to show both, but let's go 4 here. Just bear with me a sec. Oh, I don't have what we got here. So what does that combination look like? So this trade sets up a lot nicer on the 3 for the purpose of your eyeball. But again, we got the big divergence right here. And then we get the little divergence right here. Price goes up, price pulls back, and in that pullback, price rises. So from here to here, it's a straight shot up, even though the market went up and down about half. Okay, how does that look on the 3? Well, you could have taken, so it actually repeats itself. This 1-2 right here looks just like this big 1-2 right here. The next 1-2, that's when your eagle gets above the hawk. This for me this is where I really liked it. Eagle gets above the hawk, eagle gets above the traveler, traveler's in between the eagle and the hawk, and we're crossing the 0 line. You heard me talk about this, I think, in maybe a class last week. This seems to be a very powerful move when we're crossing the 0 line. And then lots of people got filled in here, and then lots of people got filled right in here. Both absolutely beautiful. I get a lot of questions too. Is taking the trade up here late? In my opinion, absolutely. This is way too late to be taking the trade on that pullback. So I'm kind of doubling up on a few items here. I want to stick to the indicators, but I also wanted to show you that trade setup. So why was that other entry so late? Look at where you're taking that trade. Even though the 3 look good and the 4 look good, there's your 4, that little dual bar reversal. I understand why people take their trades late, but look at it on the big charts, and the big charts are the most important charts. So you should not be taking your trade right here. In hindsight, sure, yeah, it worked, but boy, oh boy, you got to be very careful to be taking a trade way up there. You're taking it right into the traveler, and you're taking it into an eagle that's pushing straight down, right? But yeah, to me, this trade was 100% set up on this chart. The 8 was the whole reason that one would take this trade. The 3 and the 4, to me, everyone maybe gets hung up on looking for a perfect picture. If you didn't have a 3 and a 4, you're looking for this kind of a picture right here on these reversals. You want to break the eagle and pull back to the inside. This wick bar off the inside of the eagle, super, super powerful. So if you know that that's a 1-2 wicking off the inside of the eagle, on your 4, you know it's going to be a 1-2 wicking off your hawk, because you know that your hawk on the 4 is your eagle on the 3. Another thing to point out, the importance of this is knowing when to shift your focus. So you didn't need to look at your 3 and your 4 until kind of this area right in here, this last drop. That's when I started to look at my 3 and my 4. But if I know that I want to see a wick off the inside of the eagle on the 8, I don't need to look at it anymore. I can look at my 4 and go, oh yeah, wick off the inside of the hawk here is going to be perfect. And then your mind already knows what the 8's going to look like, because you've done so many hours of historicals that you just understand what the picture is. No, I don't like to shut off other indicators. The reason why is because I want my eyeball to understand the whole picture at all times. If I turn off the traveler and the hawk and just look at the eagle, I'm gonna train my brain to ignore or only see one indicator. So I want to leave them all on, but I want to really zoom my vision into certain things at certain times. That's just my opinion. There's more than one way to skin a cat, and that's just me. So I can't tell you not to. I wouldn't tell you not to. If you study that way and you find it works, then you should do that. We're all learning that there's lots of different ways to do this, and we're here to help and to point things out, but you're gonna find different things that maybe work for you. But to me, that trade right there was 100% set up by the 8, and it was kind of that S deal too. So yeah, for me that was this trade was totally set up by the 8, and in particular, it was set up by the price interacting with the eagle. Yeah, you probably shouldn't skin a cat. That's a very old school saying that the liberals would probably hate, but I really don't give a shit. Anyways, yeah, you want to talk about indicators? There it is. This to me was it was such a no-brainer trade, but you had to be really, really dialed in on the price interacting with the eagle, because like I said, the 32, it was a kind of a no-brainer, the way the picture was, and then on the 16 here being naked, I know that one wick bar is going to reverse it. So what's the point in staring at that chart? If I wait until this wick bar is formed, I've missed the trade. Because if I wait till this wick bar forms, we're already above the open. See where that wick bar finishes? Just right at the open. So that means right here, that would have put us on the 4 right about here. Too late. So that's, again, when you need to know when you can kind of let go of a chart and move on to the next chart. I'm just going to point out a couple examples of, I think I was, or no, I guess I was done trading. I just took the one trade. This might be one of the easiest setups to see, is this naked reversal. This is something I would maybe invest some time in if I was you. It's become one of my favorite trades. We can just look at it real quick on the other charts. Naked reversals. Again, by naked, because I think some people get confused by it. Naked means the price bars are a long ways away from all of the indicators. You could probably make the argument right here. I don't know what the threshold is, but it's just your eye will tell you. It doesn't really look like either one of these set up, but here's the 4. Had this pulled all the way back into this eagle, that would have been a good setup for short. Had we gotten a 1-2 here, that would have been a good setup for a long. So neither one of those set up, so no harm, no foul. But go take a look at those. Again, it goes to the I'm just trying to incorporate some things that I know some people are maybe haven't connected all the dots on. And to me, this class in general, being how the price interacts with the indicators, is huge, but also it's the chart rotation. It's understanding when to pay attention to each chart. And that it's tough to teach, because I think it's something you got to feel out a little bit. Okay, but I do want to talk about this. And last Monday, we talked about the traveler and the trend. Okay, so let's talk about it again. 32, biggest chart we look at, other than the day chart and the time chart. So on this push up, we didn't really test the traveler at all. We missed testing it here. We tested it here. We tested it here. We broke it, and we got back above it. We could argue wave 3, wave 4, truncated wave 5 maybe. But once we get in a certain side of the traveler and solidified, it can really hold the trend. For example, I just showed you the 32. At this line, eagle below the hawk. Okay. Now on the 16, eagle below the hawk. And on the 8, eagle below the hawk. Now, this is the first time that all three of these charts, we have the eagle below the hawk on all three charts. See through here, we got the eagle above the hawk. So now we've got all three of our big charts. I kind of break the charts into two, big charts and our timing charts, our entry charts, whatever you want to call them, the little charts. Once we're eagle below the hawk and underneath the traveler on all them big charts, which is right here, I want to trade with the trend. Okay? And the first chart that it's the trend or the traveler is going to be tested is going to be the 8. And you see how we haven't really stayed solidly underneath it. We've been testing it and testing and testing. It's all these, I don't know what happened in here. It was like there was news and the market had to go straight sideways for a period of time. I don't know what this is all about. But yeah, just very up, down, up, down, up, down. But now we get moving, okay? So the first time we're really going to interact with the traveler is going to be on the 8. And so, in my opinion, right there, let's move our line over. That's the first time we really interact with the traveler after breaking out of this kind of Slim Jim sort of deal. Okay, we had a nice push down here for 6 points or so, 8 points. Now we're going to test this traveler, and this is our 16, and that's our 8, and our 32 looks like this. Okay, so we're nice. We pulled back here, so it's okay that we're a little bit, I wouldn't really consider this naked. I would say that we're a little ways off the eagle, but because we pulled back properly here, it's just pressure down. It's just pressure down. So the 6 or 32 is big pressure down. The 16's got nice separation, nice power pro, nice everything. The fact that we're at this traveler, am I thinking that this is going to continue up into this eagle or something like that? Or am I thinking, what am I thinking? I'm thinking, no, we are now trending down. This traveler should hold the trend, and we should actually, if you wanted to, you could potentially look for a short right here. And how did we know that that wasn't going to be a pullback? Well, because the price pushing up here, it had no business going all the way back to here. And then what's the other thing? What is it when that wick down bar forms? Okay, let's go back one more. Okay, do you see, I don't know how, I guess I can just do that. Do you see the shape of that eagle? What do I mean by the shape of that eagle? Well, that's a good question. This line is pointing straight up. It's sharp. It's got a sharp edge on it. Everything's up. Do you see what happened to the eagle when that wick bar formed? It's what I call the concave and convex. I don't want that eagle rounding off. I want it to stay sharp. If that eagle stays sharp, I can look for a pullback, kind of like right in this area here. You see when this pulled back that this stayed open and sharp, whereas this is starting to round? And then it just becomes more and more rounded. So now I'm getting back to the eagle. I'm not expecting that eagle to hold, and when I look at my picture on the 16, it was just a little pullback is all it was. But we're following the trend is down, and I feel like the traveler is the first indicator that really will get tested. So now, in my opinion, we've had a good test of the traveler once. Up here, this was like, we weren't trending yet, in my opinion. That was this business right here. It was kind of like a Slim Jim. So there's our first one right there. Now, the second time this goes up, Okay, we're into the traveler right here. Now, it's always so important that we use all of our charts, or at least a few of them. In this case, I don't need to look at anything smaller than this. I just need to look at this and the whatchamacallit, the 8 and the 16, and maybe glance at the 32. So the question is, are we going to go up through this traveler and up? Is this going to be the big reversal, or is this just going to be another hit off the traveler to continue down? Okay, I got to think about this. In my opinion, I'm thinking down more. Why? No divergence. Price is moving down. Power Pro's been moving down. This price is moving down. This Power Pro is moving down. So I don't know if I'm buying along here yet. Let's see what happens. So again, we don't ricochet. We hit that traveler. We wick down. The eagle starts to roll over. It starts to flatten and narrow. Flatter and narrower. Flatter and narrower. And down it goes. You see how it did it twice. This one actually was way weaker looking than this one. This one held stronger. This one narrowed and flattened almost immediately. So, but you could actually have taken short trades off of these travelers. For sure this one. I don't know if I would have taken a short here. And then, of course, is the question, did it set up? No, it didn't. I'm just looking at my 4. It did not. Did this one set up? That doesn't matter. We're not looking for trade setups. Okay, now the next time that we hit the traveler on the 8, I would be more inclined to think reversal. Okay, right here. I assume it's going to get there. Now we have some divergence finally. From this point right here, where Power Pro bottoms out, I'm going to take my... Okay, so from here, price is here, and Power Pro's there. Now we drop to here, and in that same area, Power Pro goes up. Okay, so that's our first time we've got divergence on this big drop. We've tested the traveler twice. What does it do on the third time? What's the other thing that I haven't pointed out that should be kind of screaming at you right now? One thing. Okay, maybe 2 things. Jeff, good call. Traveler, white bars. White bars. Okay. I would love to see a 1-2 hold with white bars. Right here, we're looking, will it hold, will it hold, will it hold? No, it goes lower. So this is no longer a 1-2 because it's gone lower. But if we could get some sort of 1-2, I would potentially be looking at my small charts for trade. But white bars, and then the traveler's been outside this whole way. So I guess that's not really an extra. Jeff, I liked it, but now I got to take it back. The traveler was outside here and here. So this isn't, the traveler being outside of the hawk is not the answer in the sense that it was already outside here and here. What does my 16 say? It doesn't really say, it's not really telling me anything. We're maybe starting to flatten out here. We've tested the eagle a few times, but we're still outside of the eagle. And the eagle's still pretty open, and it's still pointed pretty down. Now you see how it started to roll right there? Let's see what happens when we hit the traveler here. Okay, so this is the third time where it's wicked right off the traveler. Let's see what the eagle does. Okay, well, that was a dual bar reversal. Let's try to match these up. Yeah, they're in the same spot. Keep in mind, we have not had a 1-2. this went lower low. That is a 1-2 off of the top of the hawk, which is what? It's going to be a tiny little, it's this wick bar right here. It's a back-to-back wick bar. So now that means that this eagle is going to get probably underneath this pivot. Right there. Barely. Right about on it. So now let's see what happens on our 8. So we break the traveler right there. That to me is when we break it, where a bar prints on the other side of it. This wick bar inside of the traveler, I don't call that breaking the traveler. I call it testing it still, because had this been a wick down bar and the price stayed underneath, then to me that would have still been holding the price. Okay, so we broke this traveler, and I would still love to see a pullback if I was ever going to look for a trade. Oh, there's your pullback. Now, so I personally probably wouldn't have got in a trade right here. That's just too far into the push. But now what am I thinking? What am I thinking as far as where is the price going to go on this push? So we tested the traveler once, we tested it 3 times, we broke it on the 3rd try. That kind of fits with our theory of 3s. So if we've broken the 8 traveler, eagles below the hawk on the 16, eagles below the hawk on the 32. We have not tested the 16 traveler. I kind of just gave away the answer. Where is this going? One would think to the traveler on the 16. And then, again, it depends on the picture on the 32. Is the picture on the 32 a picture that looks like it could reverse? Or does it look like a picture that's just going through its pullback? So little pullback to the eagle here, little pullback to the eagle here, and then the 3rd time it's going to go. Is this that picture on the 32? And to answer your question, I don't know, but we have not tested this eagle once. So the fact that we're just getting inside here, Power Pro's beyond the first line, pointed it at the same angle down. This eagle still pointed down. To me, this is not going to go a long ways. So where's it going to go? I'm going to guess this traveler right here. It didn't even go there. And then, well, let's see if it keeps going. Yeah. And then look at this eagle. It never does even open up. So the other thing is here, this is one of my favorite short trades right here. This picture here, you're way off of this eagle. You've got all the pressure down on the 32. Let's go one more bar. Yeah, right there. That's going to be a big drop on the 32. The 16, the eagle never starts to roll up. This is staying flat. Even though Power Pro's coming up, I'd be looking for a short trade. Now, it might not have set up at all. You would have had to get in that trade somewhere in here, and I don't know if it's set up or not. Doesn't matter. But there's a beautiful trade. And you know that this is not going to be a big 1-2, because for that to be a big 1-2, this 16, to me, that eagle would have opened up. Well, it was kind of a 1-2, but and there, yeah, there it goes right there. Finally test that traveler. You would have had more than enough room to get a 2.2 in here, though. And then all the way back down. So now we've tested, I want to see how this works out. Now we've tested the 16 traveler once. We're running out of time here, so I'm going to speed this up a little bit. And there it is. And that one tested the 32 traveler. But do you see how you have to really use all of the charts? And when you're trending like that, you have to test the 8 traveler and break it before you can test the 16 traveler. Now, you're not always going to test the traveler 3 times. That is, do not put any stock in that. The fact that it worked out on the 8, great. The 16, it only tested it once, and the next time it broke it. But you have to use all the charts. How do we tie more of this together? Okay, on the, was there not 3? Where's, Oh, this was the third one. Duh. Okay, this was the third one. So we didn't have divergence until the third hit. Okay, what's the difference on the 16? We had divergence on the first hit of the Traveler. So then we could expect the second push to go. And then on the 32, it actually went without divergence. So interesting. But point of the story is you got to put all of the charts together and all of the indicators on all of the charts together. I just had something. Double bottom right there, it looks like. So double bottom? Double bottoms have been super popular. I think, oh no, it wasn't. It was really, really deep. I wanted to point something else here. I'm drawing a blank. Oh, that was it. I would be very curious to see how many points we've gone and if that had something to do with why. Oh, come on. There we go. Oops. Curious to see how many points from here to here. There you go. There's another reason why. 36 points. So we were in for a reversal. Because here, so what I was saying was, on the first test of the Traveler, we had no divergence, so expect more drop. Plus, the picture on the 16 was saying more drop. The second test of the Traveler, we still didn't have divergence. Back it up to right here. That's not divergence. Okay, now we have divergence on the third test, or on the third, so we could expect that this will break. Now, this also didn't set up very good. You'd have to check it out on the 4. I guess, yeah, I would have preferred to see that pull back to the eagle. On the 16, we didn't test it here. We did test it here. And after we tested the Traveler, we had major divergence. So then we could actually look for, and right here is where the market set up to go long. We broke the flag and we pulled back. What does that look like on that 8? Right here. What does that look like on the 3 and the 4? I'm going to guess that looks like a trade. Look how beautiful this is. Price pushes. Price pulls back probably 38%. And in that whole time, Power Pro pushes straight up. No pullback on Power Pro. So it's holding the divergence. Let's see what that looked like on. Yeah, the 3 and the 4, that set up really nice. Really nice. So there's the trade. There's that particular trade. And then on the 32, we didn't get any divergence on the reversal. Nothing. And look how far the eagle got below. But we just pointed out, why did this reverse? It had gone 36 points. This chart allows for 32 points to 34, 35 points in one direction with the birds in the right spot before you can expect a really good pullback. That's just the way it is. So even though this chart didn't give us what the other ones did, you know, we did get inside the eagle here and then drop inside the eagle again. We stayed inside the eagle, which was showing weakness, but we never did get any sort of 1-2. We just got a single wick bar and go. We didn't get that divergence. We didn't test the Traveler 3 times on the other chart. And the answer for all of that, we have gone 36 points in this straight line push. We need a substantial pullback at this point. So the 32 tells us not at all by indicators to expect that to go all the way to the Traveler, rather but by the point push. Now the 16 tells us to expect to break the Traveler after it's tested it once and had major divergence here. The 8 told us it would break the Traveler after 2 tests, and on the third push, we have divergence. So what did you learn tonight? When we're trending in a certain direction, the first chart that'll test the trend is obviously the 8, followed by the 16, followed by the 32. But after testing the traveler, whether it be once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, or 10 times, you want to look for the big divergence. And if you're near the top of the push, because you got to remember too, on the 32, when you get this picture forming where eagle below the hawk and big pressure down, right here you could be thinking, oh, that's that flat hawk and we got to go up. Wave 5, you could be thinking that. In hindsight, this looks like wave 5. But you could be thinking 3, big A, big B, big C, up to the flat hawk. Okay, that's fine, but you should be giving up on it right now because eagle pointing straight down, this would be the 64 eagle, right? 32 hawk, 64 eagle, pointing straight down, traveler down. This is telling you down, okay? What's 32 points from here? 11. That's 32 points. So that all of a sudden becomes a target, this yellow line. So I'm done with the 32, and I could go 32 points. So that yellow line becomes a target. So what do my 16 and 8 say about that? I could go all the way to that yellow line. When I pull back to this traveler and test it, and my yellow line is still like 15 points away, 18 points away, why not look for a short trade? I know I'm going to test that traveler a few times. You could have got a huge trade in there. And then on the second test, you could have said, I'm going to hold it. If you're Jason P, you're still holding this because we don't have any divergence yet. Let's see if this goes lower low and Power Pro continues to climb. That would be divergence, and there it is. So when you have a feeling or maybe a huge target way below from the time chart or the day chart, plus your 32 is lined up eagle below the hawk saying we could go 32 full points, and your 16 agrees and your 8 agrees, look to test the trend and then take a trade with the trend. How do we set up targets? When you click the button, it'll set up a 2.2 target. That's a great target. Yes, it is. Peter makes a good point. This is unfinished business from the eagle on the 64 because the hawk on the 32 is the eagle on the 64. So this is unfinished business on the 32, but this is unfinished business on the hawk on the 6, which is the eagle on the 64. Peter, you must have a really good teacher. And that's a funny joke because I'm not his teacher. I know who his helper is. What is this yellow dot line? That's a line that I put there. I can make it go away that quick, or I could put it back that quick. It's just my line. You betcha. Questions. I love these classes. I just learned so much in the last hour. It's unbelievable. And you know what's cool? So I just pointed out, so I just learned a ton in the last hour. And once you get to that point in your trading, in your technicals, that's when your trading's really going to take off. I know all of this stuff, but unless you having to teach this to someone, I stepped into class today and I had no idea what we were going to talk about. I was trying to formulate a plan about 5 minutes before. When I turned my screens on to share with you about 4 minutes prior to, that's when I got engaged in, okay, what are we going to talk about? I know my job is to talk about the indicators and how the price interacts with them, but I don't know what we're going to talk about. But when you get your mindset in a place where you're gonna spend an hour or two or three looking at how the traveler works. And when I started this, we didn't really talk about the traveler a lot, and I've put a lot of energy and time into understanding the traveler. And so a lot of the things that you're hearing from me about the traveler, these are just from my brain. I've talked to Coach Jovan about him, and he agrees, so he lets me teach it. But this is just things that I've noticed, and you're going to teach yourself so much. You're going to learn the basics from all of us, but you are going to teach yourself so much. So be open to it. How do you know if you're right or you're wrong? If you think you notice something, how do you know if you're right or you're wrong? Watch it for a week or two. If it continuously does the same thing based on what you thought you noticed, you're right. If it did it for a day or two, you noticed something, and good for you. It just wasn't a trend that held water. It didn't. It's not something that continued over and over and over. It's not something that you could put in your bag of tricks. But this is how you want to do your studying. You want to notice things, notice trends, and then see how the pictures set up on the smaller charts. And then you see it enough times in live action, you'll start to trade it. I promise you that. Any more questions? Yeah, thank you guys. Like I said, I just love teaching them, so I love being here.